Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name's Adele. You can call me Addie. So today I wanted to share my process for planning out paintings because I know having just a blank canvas or blank piece of paper in front of you can be kind of intimidating. So I have a little plan that I go through every time I make a new piece of work, and I just thought I'd share that here. Maybe y'all can try it out and see if you like it. Also, I wanted to note that for my plan, this isn't like a hard, steadfast thing that you have to follow exactly, because I never really do that. It really depends on what you're making, how you work yourself. This is just a process that works for me and that I follow loosely. Sometimes I don't use a plan at all, but if I do want to plan out a painting, this is the process that I follow. So the first step to making any piece of art, you need an idea. Now, sometimes this can be easy, sometimes this can be really hard. A lot of times when I try and sit down and brainstorm, it's hard to come up with ideas. I feel like I always get my best ideas kind of randomly, but if you're struggling to get an idea, a great thing to do is just look for inspiration. I follow a lot of amazing artists on Instagram, and there are lots of great people on YouTube. So you can browse either of those platforms, you can just read a book you enjoy, watch movies, TV shows, or just take a look at the world around you, your environment. I mean, inspiration can be found anywhere. You just have to sometimes get kind of creative, think outside the box. So, once you have your idea, this step is so important. As soon as you have your idea, try and get it sketched out. Whether you're a digital artist, sketched out on your iPad, or if you're traditional like me, just put it in your sketchbook. Even if you might think, I don't know if this is going to work out, I would still draw it out, just in case. So if you ever want to come back to it, you can find it in there. Because even in the moment, if you feel like it's not that good of an idea, you might always come back across it and think, hey, I think this could actually be cool. So write it down. That's my best advice. So after I've put my initial idea down on paper, I do one of two things. I either finalize all the details and really plan out what I want my work to look like, or I just stick with the rough sketch and I leave things kind of loose, kind of open, to allow myself to kind of just go with the flow when I'm making the work and make those decisions as I go along instead of planning out every single thing. So typically, if I go with the first route of planning out like every detail of the painting, I think it's best to do that method if you have a project you're really intimidated by. Like, let's say you normally do smaller paintings, but you have a big canvas that you're going to be working with this time. Planning out every single detail of the painting can help you feel more in control and kind of help you know exactly what you need to do to get you from start to finish. Now, the second option of leaving things a bit ambiguous in your planning, I think can be really good if you've been in a creative block, in a bit of a rut with your art making. I kind of been struggling with that this summer. I haven't been making as much art. And with this painting I'm working on currently, I did not plan out a lot of details. I just stuck with this very rough sketch that I had and then kind of just jumped into making the painting with that. If you need something to challenge yourself and kind of pull yourself out of a rut, I think going with the flow as you work and kind of making those decisions along the way, it can really push you, and yeah, I just think it can be really beneficial. So after you've finalized your idea for the painting, it's time to gather up all the materials that you'll need, which can include reference photos and then actual painting materials as well. So in terms of reference photos, I normally use a pretty decent amount when I'm painting, just since I do a lot of portraits, more observational work. If that's not your thing, if you do more abstractive stuff, then you might not need a lot of reference pictures. In case you do need reference photos though, my middle school art teacher gave me this tip and it has stuck with me ever since. What you can do, whatever you need a picture of, like let's say you need a picture of a woman holding a glass of water. Tracy's here with us again today. Anyways, if you need a picture of like a woman holding a glass of water, don't search that, because you're just going to get random pictures. If you want like a nice quality picture to work from, just Google woman holding a glass of water photography. So like whatever you want a picture of, and then put photography at the end. And then the last option for reference pictures, I think sometimes the best thing to do is just take your own. You know, you can pose yourself, you can do a self-portrait. If you're wanting to do still life, just use objects you have around the house. Yeah, it's pretty easy to take your own good reference pictures. And sometimes if you can't find the picture online, that's kind of your only option. Okay, so now we have all of our reference photos that we might need. You can either print them out or store them in a folder on your computer, or just save pictures on your phone, whatever works best for you. Now we want to gather all of the supplies we'll need for painting. I think it's just a really good rule of thumb to get everything that you need and organize it around you in a way that makes sense to you. So all of the materials that I like to have with me when I'm painting, you need your painting surface, whether that's a canvas, paper, etc. I like to have an easel. I have a little tabletop one at my house, or if you're at school or you have a standing easel, get one of those. You can honestly even prop your canvas up against the wall. Sometimes that's what I do too. Obviously your paint and your paint brushes. I like to have my palette knife, something to clean your brushes with, and then also either a paper towel or a paint rag. Okay, so now we're getting to the fun part. It's time to actually put stuff on the canvas. So before I start painting, I like to prepare the surface that I'm working on, either with gesso or some sort of primer, or even just a layer of paint. For me, if I'm oil painting, I like to do several layers of gesso on the canvas, sand that down, and then I get my oil paint and solvent and make a light wash of that and cover the entire canvas with a light wash of that color. Whereas if I'm acrylic painting, sometimes I'll put gesso on the canvas, but most of the time I just take a base color and just paint the canvas in that whole base color. Okay, and the final step before we start painting, I like to get a nice sketch of the composition on the canvas before I start painting. If you're acrylic painting, you can honestly just take a pencil and kind of sketch it out on the canvas. But if you're oil painting, I like to actually use a darker version of that base color I painted on the canvas, get a thin brush, and kind of draw it out with the paint. So pretty much like you're using a pencil and drawing on canvas, but you're just painting out the composition with paint instead. But again, if you're going with the method where it's more ambiguous and you haven't planned it out too much, you can skip this step if you want and just start putting paint on straight away. It's really up to you, like I said. This is just what I like to do, so. And that was the final step. So after you've done all of that, it's time to start painting. This can be scary, but you kind of just have to jump into it. You know, you're not going to have a painting if you never start actually painting. All right, and that is my process for planning out paintings. I hope that made sense. I hope that y'all enjoyed that, and you know, feel free to try it out if you want. Let me know if that works well for you too, or what y'all's process is for planning out your paintings. I'm curious to hear. If you enjoyed this video, feel free to like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time. Thanks for watching. Bye.